Hello, everyone. Welcome to Christopher's Entertainment Blog. I'm your host, Chris. Welcome back to another video for The Flash Season 2. This is Episode 4, entitled The Fury of Firestorm. And this episode, guys, this episode for me was actually one of the weaker ones for me. I thought it was okay. It wasn't grand or anything. It wasn't like I think like the second episode or whatever, and last week's episode wasn't too bad. So this one here, we get to finally see a replacement for Ronnie. They end up picking Jefferson Jackson. So that was cool. I liked the whole. I liked Jefferson Jackson. I thought he was a pretty cool character. Um, so seeing him come in. I think he works. I think that works. And, we got that put aside now. We can finally, we got a replacement in there. This episode was just kind of an episode to try to get to where we're trying to go. And, that's for the other show, Legends of Tomorrow. I mean, they're trying to get all this stuff, ready for this other show, and they're speeding through this. I mean, we finally got, Martin Stein a replacement. And now he's off the show. It looks like at the end. I mean, that was I'm actually kind of sad to see Victor Garber, Dr. Martin Stein go. I actually thought he was one of the stronger characters on the show. But it'll be cool to see him on Legends of Tomorrow or whatever. But yeah, it's sad to see him go. But I mean, he keeps making reference to like someone in Pittsburgh or something that's helping them. Train or something. I'm curious to find out what that is. I mean, who is this person in Pittsburgh that's helping them? But I mean, hopefully we'll find out. Okay, eventually, maybe on the other show, maybe we'll find out. But yeah, some of the other things in this show, Caitlin, I actually thought she was like really annoying, kind of bitchy. In this episode, I mean, I guess she can be redeemed to say, well, she was trying to. This is a replacement for Ronnie, so she would be kind of a little bit hoping that someone would reach the bar high enough. She was after the doctor Henry Hewitt because he was a scientist. Jefferson Jackson was basically, he was just a mechanic or whatever, and didn't go to college and had problems here and there. So I guess in her mind, he wasn't to the potential that Ronnie was, and maybe this Henry Hewitt was. But it turns out she kind of skipped over the part where he actually had a criminal record. But I thought she was really bitchy, but then I was like, okay, well, maybe it does work out that she's looking for someone to replace Ronnie in this role. So I guess she would be kind of a bitch about it. So, but in the end, she redeemed herself because that speech that she gives. Jefferson Jackson at the shop. That was a great speech. I thought it was done really, really well. It convinced me. I was like, yeah, it works. So she redeemed herself there. So I liked her in that scene very much. And the other scenes in the episode, Patty Spivot, the whole Patty Spivot and Barry like flirtation thing going on. It's starting to get a little annoying. I think this is like the third episode now that they've been going back and forth with this weird little game. It's starting to get a little annoying. I wish they would just, get on with it. I wish they would just get on with it, really. Because I like her as a character. I like her. I think they work well together. I really do. It's starting to get a little annoying, the little game back and forth. So hopefully they'll get that, started here and get over with and just, move forward. Because the whole flirtation thing going back and forth is kind of annoying now. It was maybe okay the first time or second time, but now it's just getting annoying. But I like her as a character. She's funny. She's very funny. So I think she works well with Barry. I really do. So, but the other things real quick. I mean, seeing Dr. Wells again, I mean, that was cool, and it looks like he's going to be like what I said last week. I think it was that, he's going to be a good guy. It looks like. I mean, he saved Barry at the end there, and I'll get into all that later. But I mean, it seems like, he's from another Earth, and he's tracking Zoom, and he's going to work with Barry. So it's great seeing Tom Cavanaugh. Great actor. He was wonderful in the show last year. I'm glad he's back, and they got have a certain way to bring him back. I mean, it just works, and I can't wait to see more of him on the show. So that's a plus. It's always a plus. But some of the other stuff for me, that didn't work. There was actually a lot more things in this episode that didn't work than it was that did. I mean, but for one, the whole thing with Henry Hewitt. All right. For one, they bring him automatically into Star Labs and show him the flash suit, and you're going to be a superhero without really getting to know the guy. I was just like, what are you doing? I mean, you're showing this guy where you operate and who you are and what you're doing, and it's just like you don't know him. It was weird. It was really weird. And then the whole character that Henry Hewitt turns into, like this spoiled brat that didn't get his own way, and he, they say he has a criminal record and this and that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But he just came off as just crying, a whiner. I mean, I don't know. It was strange, and I didn't really care much for this villain. I did not. I mean, he didn't seem like a cool villain at all. He just seemed like a disgruntled employee or something. It didn't get his own way. But and then he goes to the football field at the end, and I'm like, why is he going there? I mean, I guess to get back at Jackson. I don't know. I mean, it was just weird. Like, well, how did he even know anything about him? Why would he even go to the football field? That was weird. Him coming in the mechanic shop, the garage with Caitlin and Jax talking, and then he just automatically shows up. I'm like, where did he come from? How did he get there? It's just like, how did he even know they were there? I mean, or how did he know that she was going to be there? That was just strange. A lot of weird, strange stuff going on in this episode. And like I said, the whole thing, Patty and Barry, that whole thing now is getting a little annoying. But the other thing that didn't work for me, that is just a cliche that happens, and I did not like it, was the whole Iris mother situation and Joe going on. I did not like that this week. I did not. The whole plot device to say that she was sick, it is such a cliche. I mean, I personally don't like it when shows or movies and stuff do that. I mean, I think it's just so easy. Like, just bad writing. I really do. It's a bad device to get you to feel something for these people. And I particularly don't like to see it, especially in shows like this where I want things to be awesome and cool and upbeat. And, I don't like that type of stuff coming into shows. Like, for me, I'm trying to escape certain things, and it's just like they're bringing that real world element into it. I don't like. Me personally, I don't care for that, and I think it's bad writing. But the whole the acting that Candice Patton did, I thought she did really well in this episode, and I thought I thought Iris played it really well, but the whole plot device around that I did not like. It was just one thing to get her to come into town to tell her about her half brother or brother. I mean, which is probably maybe Wally West. That's possibly what it could be. So I think that was just that weird plot device to tell her about that, and then. But I don't like how they're revolving around her sickness, and I mean, I don't like that at all. So yeah. But and then Iris says, "Oh well, I don't want to know about the brother." I'm like, well, I'd like to find out more who this brother is. I mean, I'm sure we will. Maybe she'll get curiosity and she'll just want to find out eventually, or someone will talk her into maybe finding who this other person is. But it seems like it seems to me like that's where they're driving at is Wally West. I mean, it could be anybody, but that's the only probably cool plot thing that came out of that whole debacle. But yeah, I didn't like the whole plot thing there. Yeah, and another thing that maybe a nitpick thing about Joe, maybe that Joe lying to Barry about, Dr. Wells coming back. It seems like that they would know not to lie to each other. I mean, but, whatever. It didn't really bother me too much about it. Yeah. Yeah, there were some nitpicking things here and there. But, I mean, the best thing in this episode, I was like, man, this episode is just meh. Or just okay. It wasn't a lot of bad things going on. A lot of things I did not care for in this episode. But then it was totally redeemed with King Shark at the end. You see that fist come in. I'm like, oh, I thought it was Gorilla Grodd at first. When I seen it, I was like, oh, Gorilla Grodd. Oh, okay. And then they pan up to this like huge, 12-foot tall, man shark. I was like, what is happening? Who is this guy? Awesome looking character. I mean, you look at him, he's like, this doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, this guy walking around, I mean, he's body of a man, like the Hulk, and he's got a head of a shark. I mean, it looks ridiculous, but it was awesome. It was awesome, ridiculous. But then, just like that, he gets knocked out by the hooded figure, and I'm like, oh, what? I was hoping, hopefully they'll have more of this character. Because he was awesome. I think they should have had more, a whole episode with him. That would have been awesome. But I'm sure the CG budget is probably out of this world to have something to that scale. But I mean, they did it with Gorilla Grodd, so they might be able to do it. But I really hope that we see more from that character coming up. But the hooded figure turns out to be Dr. Wells. And I called it last week that I think he's a good guy and he's just the real Dr. Wells. And it seems to me that that's who it is. I don't know if we should actually trust him fully yet because we know what happened last year. But it's cool seeing him walking now, and now they get away from that wheelchair and everything. So I can't wait to see what happens with that next week when everybody gets to see Dr. Wells again. I'm sure that everybody's going to freak out and not trust him at all. But like I said, it's great seeing Tom Cavanaugh. And, hopefully we'll get into this Zoom situation. And it seems like Dr. Wells is there to help with the Zoom. Another thing I almost forgot is, it was kind of a negative, is where the heck is... let me see. Yeah. Where the heck is Jay Garrick? I was blanking on his name. Because he wasn't in this episode. Where was Jay Garrick? I mean, it was just he was there and now he's not. So, yeah, I mean, just, I wish they would have said oh, well, he's, doing something. I mean, they didn't even mention him at all. Weird. Like I said, really, it seemed like a really rushed, strange episode. Plot devices for talking about the brother of Iris, maybe Wally West, and another device to try to bring in a replacement for Dr. Stein. So that's all this episode was to fill that fill that gap, and then that's it. But yeah, guys, not the great episode. It was okay at times. The ending was great. I really liked the ending, but that's about it. A few other things was okay. Good acting here and there, but yeah, overall, not the greatest episode. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. I'm going overtime. If there's anything I might have missed you guys want to talk on, please write in the comments below. Also, give a like. Would appreciate it, guys. But that will do it for me for this video, guys. I will see you guys next week. I am Chris for Christopher's Entertainment Blog. Thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.